Greetings. I thought I'd do a video on 6S batteries for mini quads, and if you know me, I run mini hexacopters, so I guess mini classed drones. I don't know. Anyway, I noticed there was no videos out there talking about what's good out there for our high amp applications, and really we need them to be light as well, so having a good power to weight ratio is fairly crucial. So these are some of the batteries that I've been trying. By far the best, like my favourite so far, however they are seeing some age, are the Turnigy Graphenes. This is the 1.3 and this is the 1.5, and I believe these are known to be a overrated battery. So what they class them as in terms of milliamp hour rating isn't entirely truthful. So perhaps the 1.5 is more like an 1800 and the 1.3 is more like a 1450 or a 1500, and that's how they achieve their sort of high C rating. But they do, I've been able to pull over 200 amps burst, very split second, like probably a quarter of a second, but it has registered on my current meter, which is calibrated, and they've been good batteries. This one's just a little bit heavy for my 5-inch hexacopters. I believe it'll be really good for a 6-inch 6S hexacopter, or sorry, 6-inch quadcopter, and they're just a little bit too small for my 6-inch hexacopter that runs at 6S, but they are very good batteries and they do take some abuse, so that if that's what you're after, I suggest these. However, they are showing some age. Like when I first got these, I could very comfortably pull 1400, sometimes even 1500 mAh out of them before I saw sort of the 3.7 per cell discharge voltage. But nowadays I've probably got about 40 or 50 cycles through these, and some of them are dying, some of the cells are dying, and I can only really get about 1200 mAh on the ones that haven't had cells die. Similarly with the 1300s, however, these are the most reliable out of all of these so far. The 1300s I can only pull, like some of the really worn ones, around 800 to 900 mAh. The good crisp new ones that I've got probably around 1100 to 1200 mAh. Quite comfortably, and yeah, they're probably my go-to battery at the moment. However, I've been experimenting on these, and I'll get to those. These are what I run on my 6-inch, and they're meant for helicopters, but I've got some glass fibre tape over them, so it's a little hard to read, but they're meant to have 45 to 90 C discharge, and discharge C rating's a bit how you going. However, this one seems to power my 6-inch hexacopter very well. That thing cruises around at about 50 amps, just cruising, and it's quite high cruise speed. I get about 3 or 4 minutes flight time out of it. I pull typically about 1800 mAh out of these before I really have to land and let the cells rest, up to around 3.75. But typically 3.7 is typically what I want to land at, or maybe even 3.68 while I'm hovering, and then it will bounce back to 3 point whatever, and just basically don't pull the voltage per cell down to 3.4, so no power loops while I'm at the end of the battery and that sort of thing. But these are a massive disappointment. These are the Bolt high voltage 6S 1300s, and they're very lightweight battery, and if you compare this to, say, for example, the 1300, can you see that? Yeah. So they're pretty. There's a massive size difference. Massive size. There's probably about 2 centimeters or 1.5 centimeters difference in width. And these, as you can see, it's pretty puffy, and they sort of just get to the stage where you'll have them full charge, and you'll touch the throttle, and it'll just sag ridiculously to like 2.9 volts per cell. So it's actually caused me to crash when it started doing that, because you're expecting to be able to pull up from a dive and it just doesn't. So as most people say, stay away from bolts. Even after I discovered that if you land at the offset voltage, I think it's like 3.8, I think I was landing at. And it did extend the life of these. I have 4 of these, and 2 of them just died, and then I found out about the 3.8 cell voltage landing. And even after that, I only got about 20, maybe 15 cycles out of these, and they're just puffed to all shit. So yep, stay away from the 6S bolts. Similarly, these are not too bad. I mean, if you're just after a cheap battery, these come on sale a lot, but they are a bit of they are really saggy to fly. As soon as you touch the throttle, especially on a hexacopter, they just sag, and like they will bounce back. Just eventually they don't bounce back, and they start puffing, and they run really hot. And curiously, I've got the Infinity 1400 here, and it is actually the exact same size, which is very strange. I don't know if they're using the same cells, or because they are very much similar. But I've only had these for about half a week now, but I'll get to that. So I've got the 1400 Tattu here. I had big expectations out of this one. It's a Tattu. They're generally pretty good, but yeah, it's shit. It's really bad. It's actually worse than that, which is expected, because it is a smaller battery. They're just, I don't know. I don't know if it's the shape of the cells, or which is what makes me worry about this one. But it's a really saggy battery to fly. So I'm guessing that's to do with, because these are non-graphene chemistry, whereas these are, when you touch the throttle, it doesn't sag like grandma's boobs. Whereas these will, you'll be like, sometimes you at certain stages of the battery, you actually can't do a power loop because it sags that bad. So you'll go to do a power loop, and you'll just sort of stall because the motors stop spinning up, and yeah, no matter how efficient of a setup you've got on, like dual blades or low pitch dual blades, it doesn't matter. It just sags. So I think these are really geared towards helicopters, which don't require massive amps, which it's a bit of a dying hobby, that one. But it's a little annoying that I keep coming across 6S batteries that are meant for helicopters, and they just flat out lie about the C rating. So I've only had about, I think this one's only had about 4 cycles gone through it, and so far I'm fairly impressed. I can reliably pull 1200 mAh out of it. It's nowhere near 90C. The highest amp reading I've seen, split second, just recorded on my OSD, would be 175. Whereas the 1500s I've seen very regularly top out at some of my current meter maximums, which is 186, strangely, because it's supposed to be 184. But so far, like, price for performance wise, this seems to be the winner. I mean, it's cheap, it's extremely lightweight, so it's got the weight of this battery, but it's got more similar performance of this battery, which is, you look at the numbers and you're like, oh, that makes sense. But I didn't expect that from a China battery, really. I just didn't think much of it and just ordered a couple to test out. I have no idea if it's actually graphene. It seems to behave very much like a graphene in the way that it doesn't sag. In even just like doing a banked turn would make these weaker batteries just suffer, and you'd hear the motors spinning down because they just can't keep up. Whereas this one seems to be keeping up. It should be interesting to see how many cycles I get out of it, because these ones I've put through hell. I've got, I think, just in that one, I think I've got around 30, 35, maybe 40 cycles. And this one I think is older, so it would be around the 50 mark. So yeah, that's my video. It's a pretty niche market out there if you're a 6S pilot, and I just thought I'd make a video on what I've found works well for multirotors that are running on 6S, because there's not many of us out there. So I hope you enjoy, and thanks for watching.